Shri Mataji.
श्री माता जी, बहुत बहुत स्वागत है मिस्टर एलेक्स का। बहुत ही खुशी की बात है हमारे लिए कि आज हमने उनको फिर पुनः हमारे इस चैनल पे बुलाया है अपने अनुभव शेयर करने के लिए। कहाँ वो हांगकांग में और कहाँ हम लोग दिल्ली, बम्बई, इंदौर और औरंगाबाद में अलग अलग जगह से ये प्रोग्राम मिलकर बच्चे ऑर्गेनाइज कर रहे हैं। मैं इंदौर में हूँ। ये बहुत ही हमारे लिए खुशी की बात है कि जो ऐसे व्यक्ति जो श्री माता जी के साथ रहे, आश्रम में रहे, देश विदेश यात्राएं की और माँ के साथ बहुत सारे अनुभव रहे, ये हमारा परम सौभाग्य है कि ऐसे माँ के प्रिय बच्चे जो माँ को बहुत पसंद थे, जिन्होंने माँ ने जिनको अपने साथ रखा, ऐसे व्यक्ति के माँ के साथ के अनुभव सुनने का हमको इस लॉकडाउन में अवसर प्राप्त हो रहा है। तो बहुत ही खुशी की बात है हमारे लिए। पहले भी एक बार हम श्री एलेक्स साहब को बुला चुके हैं। बहुत ही सुंदर प्रोग्राम रहा और लोगों ने बहुत अप्रिशिएट किया। अप्रिशिएट इस ढंग से कि सहयोग में तो सराहना तभी की जाती है जब चैतन्य बढ़ता है। तो सभी लोगों का ऐसा कहना था कि ऐसा लगा कि हम चैतन्य में नहा गए पूरे समय। तो आज भी हमने उनको फिर से इसीलिए बुलाया है कि फिर कभी ये मौका मिलेगा हमें उनको सुनने का और उनके साथ ध्यान करने का, माँ के साथ के अनुभव सुनने का मौका। तो मैं उनका बहुत बहुत स्वागत करती हूँ। श्री माता जी से प्रार्थना करती हूँ कि माँ उनके मुख से वही कहलवाए जिससे हम ध्यान में और गहनता में उतरे और आनंद को प्राप्त करें। थोड़ा सा मैं हमारे इस चैनल के बारे में भी बता दूं कि हमने ये जो प्रोग्राम शुरू किया था कुल 8-10 बॉम्बे के बच्चों के लिए किया था। जब देखा कि उन बच्चों का अनुभव बहुत अच्छा रहा तो ये प्रोग्राम को हम धीरे धीरे बढ़ाते गए और श्री माता जी की कृपा से काफी काफी सारे लोग इससे जुड़ गए। बहुत सारे लोगों की बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स सॉल्व हो गई। किसी का कैंसर अच्छा हो गया तो किसी का माइग्रेन अच्छा हो गया तो किसी का यूरिक एसिड, इस तरह से नींद की गोलियां खत्म हुई। बहुत सारे लोगों की बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो गई। ये प्रोग्राम श्री माता जी की कृपा से हम एक 4:15 बजे रियलाइजेशन का लेते हैं और फिर एक 7:45 बजे, इस तरह से 2 समय हम रियलाइजेशन लेते हैं। और फिर जो लोग इसमें जुड़ जाते हैं, पक्के हो जाते हैं, जिनकी बेसिक जो समझ जाते हैं, उनको फिर हम 5:30 बजे रेगुलर मेडिटेशन के लिए इसी लिंक पे और हमारे यूट्यूब के इसी चैनल पर उनको हम इनवाइट करते हैं। तो इस तरह से श्री माता जी की कृपा से यह कार्य करीब 3 महीने से सतत चल रहा है और इस पर नए नए लोग आकर अपना अनुभव सुना रहे हैं। उसी कड़ी में आज ये दूसरी बार हम श्री एलेक्स साहब का स्वागत करते हैं। जय श्री माता जी, उनके अनुभव सुनते हैं। तो स्वागत है आपका। जय श्री माता जी।
जय श्री माताजी।
जय श्री।
So let's all of us together collectively raise our Kundalini, put ourselves into Bandhan. We have a meditation. We can bring our right hand onto the Saraswara, just focus our attention. We can just pray to Shri Mataji. Shri Mataji, please come into my Saraswara. Shri Mataji, please come into my attention. Now just slowly lift the hand above the Sahasrara. See if you can feel the Chaitanya flowing. And just focus there where you're feeling the cool breeze. And just slowly bring the hand back to the lap again. Keep your attention above the top of the head where you felt the cool.
Alex uncle, can you please unmute your mic? We can't hear you.
So we can take the right hand onto the Mother Earth. And we can just pray to Shree Mataji to take all the imbalances and all the negativities of our left sides to the Mother Earth. We can take the mantra of Shri Mahakali Shri Bhairava. Om Tvamiva Sakshat Shri Mahakali Shri Bhairava Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. You take the mantra of Shri Ganesha. Om Tvamiva Sakshat Shri Ganesha Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Shri Ganesha, please remove all the obstacles in the way of my spiritual ascent. Shri Ganesha, please make me the innocence of a child. We slowly bring the right hand onto the lap again. We'll clear the right channel. We take the left hand and point it up towards the sky. And we can just ask Shree Mataji to take away all the heat and imbalances of the right channel to the sky. Shree Mataji, please take away all the heat and imbalances of my right channel to the ether. And we can take the mantra of Shri Mahasaraswati Shri Hanumana. Om Tvamiva Sakshat Shri Mahasaraswati Shri Hanumana Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. You're feeling the right hand is cooler, you could slowly bring the left hand onto the lap again. And we can take the right hand to the base of the body and just in the center raise the Kundalini from the base with the right hand all the way to the top of the head. And as we do this, we can just take a deep breath in. Bring the hand onto the top of the Sahasrara. Just focus there and breathe out. And again, breathing in, raising the Kundalini. Hold and breathe out. And again, breathing in. Focus there, breathing out. Once again, breathing in. Hold it, breathing out. You can place the hand on the left heart. We can just say, Shree Mataji, please come into my heart. Please let me worship your lotus feet in my heart. Take the mantra of Sri Shiva Bhavati. Om Tvamiva Sakshat Shri Shiva Parvati Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. And we can slowly bring our right hand to the forehead, put it on the agas. Shri Mataji, I forgive everybody and I forgive myself. Shri Mataji, I forgive everybody and I forgive myself. We take the mantra of Shri Jesus Mary. Om Tvamiva Sakshat Shri Jesus Mary Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Shri Mataji, I forgive all my thoughts. I am not these thoughts. I am not these thoughts. I am nothing but the pure spirit. By your grace, I am nothing but the pure spirit. Just bring the hand onto the Saraswara again. We're just going to focus there. Keep our focus. Lift the hand above the head. And once again, we can feel where we're feeling the cool breeze. Once you've fixed the point that you can feel, just slowly bring the hand back onto the lap. And we're just going to sit in meditation just for a few minutes. You can take the third of the three great mantras. Om Tvamiva Saksha Shri Kalki Saksha Shri Sahasrara Swamini Moksha Pradaini Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. And once again, we can slowly raise our Kundalini and put ourselves into Bandhan. Jai Shri Mataji.
जय श्री माता जी, दुष्यंत भैया।
जय श्री माता जी अंकल।
Yes, Shri.
Anivish is also online with us. He'll translate
Okay.
whenever. So what we'll do is, uncle, that we'll start with the Q&A session today. There were some questions pending for the last session, and
Sure.
then we'll go to experiences with mother. Hope that's okay, uncle.
Fine. That's fine.
Uncle, after the last session, some yogis had actually inquired that how do you get deeper into meditation? What should be the practice? What should one do to get deeper into meditation?
So for meditation it's something that is a natural process. If you can establish the flow of Kundalini and establish your attention above the Sahasrara. So this exercise to bring your attention up here helps to sort of go beyond the mind. Trouble is that the thoughts are always coming and going. So it's about watching and not reacting. So you become a witness to your own thoughts. And you have to relax. I think this is the key thing, is not to sort of try to over complicate things when we meditate, because saying all the mantras and things like that, it's a very simple thing. We use the mantra for when we need to clear any particular imbalances. So we have all the tools there. But predominantly the problem is thinking, and thinking is coming from the right side mostly. If it's left-sided, it's more emotional. So it's about balancing the two channels, understanding where the imbalances or problems lie in your subtle system, and then working it out, clearing, using the elements, using the water. If you have right-sided soy as the water, you can even put ice on the liver, because that'll cool you down. And you'll find that if your attention is moving around and you can't focus and you can't sit still, or the thoughts are too much, putting ice on the liver is always helpful. Once you've established your basic attention settles down, then you'll start to go deeper. You'll start to naturally have quieter and quieter meditations where the brain is not so active. So it's a gradual process. I'll let you translate, sorry.
या जय श्री माता जी। तो प्रश्न अंकल से ये कहा गया था कि हम ध्यान में और गहरे कैसे उतरें, जो कि हम में से कई लोगों का सवाल रहता है। अंकल का कहना है कि सबसे पहले जो हमारी अड़चन आती है वो हमारे विचार हैं, जो कि शांत होते नहीं हैं। तो हमें रोज़मर्रा के ध्यान में कुंडलिनी चढ़ा के और अपने आप को संतुलन में लाके और विचारों को देखना है, और बहुत ज़्यादा क्रियाकर्म में नहीं फंसना है। जहाँ ज़रूरी हो वहाँ चक्रों के मंत्र लिए जाएं, और जो मुख्य बात वही है कि अपने विचारों को हम पहले शांत करें, और जो ज़रूरी हो फुटसोक और जिस तरह की क्रिया ज़रूरी हो वो अपने लिए करें, अपने आप को संतुलन में लाने के लिए लिवर पे बर्फ़ रखना आदि जो भी आवश्यक हो, जिससे कि हम हमारे चित्त को पहले स्थिर कर सकें, हमारे विचारों को शांत कर सकते हैं, और फिर हम एक बेसिक उस स्थिति में आ जाए जहाँ पे कि हमारा ध्यान लग पाता है।
The power of prayer. Sorry, go on.
नहीं अंकल, सो उसके बाद अंकल का कहना है कि ये अपने आप नेचुरल प्रोसेस है, और ध्यान में हम धीरे धीरे गहरे उतरते जाएंगे।
Okay, the power of prayer is also very good to use the affirmations. Pray to Shree Mataji for help. Usually when we come, we'll have disturbances which come from either left side or right side. So disturbances from left side would be more emotional, or there could be some buddhas which are affecting us. So we have to use the fire element to clear that. And we should be proactive. We should be very diligent in our practices, because to make progress in Sahaja Yoga, you have to have that pure desire inside that you really want to make progress. We pray to Shree Mataji, please help us in this process of our spiritual ascent.
ध्यान में प्रार्थना की शक्ति का महत्व अंकल समझा रहे हैं कि इससे भी हमें बहुत बहुत आगे प्रकृति मिल सकती है अगर हम सही प्रार्थनाएं करते जाएं श्री माता जी से, और जो भी हमें परेशानी दिखती है, ध्यान में अड़चन दिखती है, उसको हमें लग के उसके पीछे उसे ठीक करना ज़रूरी है। जैसे कि अगर हमें लेफ़्ट साइड की बाधा है, तो हमें अग्नि का प्रयोग करना ज़रूरी है। इस तरह से प्रार्थनाएँ करके ध्यान में आगे बढ़ना हमारे लिए ज़रूरी है।
And watch your attention. Watch where is your attention going. When you sit for meditation, what are the thoughts that are coming and bothering you? Are they from the left side, things of past? Are they from the future, things we're worried about in the future?
और ध्यान में बैठते समय हमें देखना ज़रूरी है कि हमें क्या विचार आ रहे हैं। हम अपने विचारों को देखें कि कहीं वो भूतकाल के विचार आ रहे हैं या भविष्यकाल के विचार आ रहे हैं। इस तरह से अपने विचारों को हम देखें।
And the thing is, you have to have this the bhakti and love for Shree Mataji. And that opens your heart. It brings this joy into the heart. So we feel the ananda, the joy. It comes to the heart once we feel it's awakened, because recognizing Shree Mataji is giving the spirit in our heart, Sri Shiva, manifesting in the heart, is very pleased when we praise Shree Mataji, we recognize Shree Mataji. So doing puja to Shree Mataji, to worshipping her, is opening that connection between the heart and the Sarasrara. So that's very important. And then the gradual opening of the Sarasrara can take place because we have this blessing of Lord Shiva. It's manifesting in the center of the Sarasrara, the representing in the center. The petals are opening up. It's like an antenna, just opening up. And then the divine, the grace of divine flows through our subtle system, and we become immersed in that joy, immersed in that vibration.
और जो अगली चीज़ अंकल कह रहे हैं कि भक्ति बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है सहयोग में। जब हम श्री माता जी को पहचान लेते हैं और उनके प्रति हमारी भक्ति, हमारी पूजा समर्पित होती है, तब हमारे हृदय में बैठे आत्मस्वरूप श्री शिव बहुत प्रसन्न होते हैं और उन्हीं का पीठ जो हमारे सहस्त्रार पे है, वो भी खुल जाता है और हमें पूर्ण आनंद और चैतन्य का अनुभव होता है।
And we watch, again, we become detached and more detached from ourself, and we recognize that we're part of something much greater. So as we reach this subtlety, we start to develop this sensitivity to our own vibration, sensitivity to the world around us. And inside we have a strong desire to give realization, because it just comes from the heart, and then we become an instrument of the divine, and then we start to make a lot more progress. So as an instrument, the divine says, okay, this person is giving realization, so the blessings will come, the Brahma Chaitanya flows through you, and then you become an instrument. So the divine puts more attention on you. So giving realization is very important for a yogi, to be able to be like an instrument. So first master yourself, understand your problems, work them out, and then you'll be in a good instrument to give realization. And we can become very good at giving, talks about Shree Mataji, but giving realization is the most important.
कह रहे हैं फिर धीरे-धीरे हमें साक्षी भाव और बढ़ता जाता है और हम हमारे आसपास के लोगों के लिए, दुनिया के लोगों के लिए और सेंसिटिव होते जाते हैं और फिर हम आत्म साक्षात्कार देने के कार्यक्रम में जुड़ जाते हैं। जब हम आत्म साक्षात्कार देते हैं तो और ज़्यादा परम चैतन्य हमारे अंदर से बहता है और परम चैतन्य हमारी और देखभाल करता है क्योंकि वो देखता है कि ये व्यक्ति आत्म साक्षात्कार देने का कार्य कर रहा है। तो पहले हम अपने आप को पूरी तरह से ठीक करें, अपने सभी चक्रों को ठीक करें और फिर हम आत्म साक्षात्कार देने के कार्य में जुटे।
So normally in the beginning, it's on the mental level. We start to analyze. We want to know the knowledge part, and as it should be balanced, because we need to work on the experience, the bhakti, and the experience of the vibration, and practicing, clearing and balancing the chakras, becoming more familiar with the instrument, your own instrument. Your hands will speak. They tell you where the imbalances lie. And you can just work on yourself. I think Shamalaji, when I was staying with her, she was constantly saying, "What are you feeling on the vibrations? You're feeling this. You're feeling clear this, clear that." So she was constantly giving me feedback about where the attention was, where the vibrations needed to work out. And then she said, put attention. Let's give bandhan on this. So you'd be working on many problems which are all over the place, but a lot of emphasis on mastering your own awareness, mastering your own instrument.
तो शुरुआत में हम बहुत दिमागी स्तर पे सहयोग को समझते हैं, एनालाइज करते हैं, और पर हमें उसका संतुलन भक्ति और वाइब्रेशन से करना होगा। और हमें हमेशा देखते रहना चाहिए कि हमारे क्या चक्र पकड़ रहे हैं, क्या बाधाएं आ रही हैं, और उनको तत्काल ठीक करते रहने की हमें प्रक्रिया चालू रखनी चाहिए। अंकल बता रहे हैं कि श्री माता जी के साथ जब वो रहते थे, तो श्री माता जी हमेशा उनसे पूछ रही थी, आपको क्या महसूस हो रहा है हाथों पे, और इसको ठीक कीजिए, इसे बंधन डालिए, जो भी समस्याएं हैं उन सब पे बंधन डालिए। इस तरह से हमेशा इस कार्य में लगे रहते थे।
Next question.
दुष्यंत भैया।
Mataji uncle. The next question pertains to a common query with a lot of Sahajogis who are working. A lot of Sahajogis who are not working also. A lot of people talk about stress. It's a very common word these days. So how to avoid stress via meditation? So as far as I know, uncle, you belong to the IT sector. You work in a high pressure environment. So how has meditation helped you in avoiding stress, and what is your advice to other yogis as to how should they practice Sahaja Yoga so as to minimize stress as best as they can?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's a day-to-day problem that everyone faces, stress. But if we look at what is stress, it's just your ability, it's your way of dealing with it. If you have too much in your mind, too much thinking, pressure, where does the pressure come from? It comes from your thinking. You're thinking about a task you have to do. You're projecting into the future. You're thinking about, oh, I've got to finish this by tonight or finish this by tomorrow. I have a deadline next week. So automatically, your body is preparing for some fight or flight response. So the stress levels are increasing because you're stressing your body by worrying about something, thinking about something which doesn't exist. So to meditate is to sort of turn back and not have those reactions in the body. Our body is just a simple instrument. It responds to stimulus. So left and right brain is directly connected to the left and right sympathetic nervous system, as Shree Mataji has explained. Our thought processes will link. So if we're thinking too much on the left brain, which is connected to the right side, then that will give us more things like hypertension, high blood pressure. It will give us some liver problem and tension problems, and we'll feel stressed. It can stress out the heart. If we're thinking too much, it affects the heart as well. So all these things will come into play by the overthinking that we're doing. So stress is no more than overthinking, just thinking too much and not getting out of that thinking. So meditation, even sometimes people meditate, but they're not really meditating. They're sitting there and the thoughts are going around in the mind. So that's why you have to get into this state where there's space between the thoughts. Shree Mataji talks about that gap, the space between the thoughts, and that's the silence that we have to strive for in our meditation.
अंकल से एक प्रश्न किया गया है कि हम में से कई योगी हम रोजमर्रा के जीवन में, हम जॉब में हमें बहुत स्ट्रेस रहता है, तो उससे हम कैसे सहयोग से पार पा सकते हैं। तो अंकल खुद भी बहुत अच्छी पोजीशन में आईटी में जॉब करते हैं, तो अंकल यही समझा रहे हैं कि स्ट्रेस असल में होता क्या है। हमारे लिए फ्यूचर की कुछ प्लानिंग रहती है कि हमें ये करना है, हमें ये ख़त्म करना है, अगले हफ्ते की डेडलाइन एटसेट्रा। तो ऐसी चीज़ों के विचार हमें चलते रहते हैं, दिमाग में बहुत सारे विचार रहते हैं। और जैसे कि हमारे शरीर में जो नाड़ियाँ हमें पता है कि आज्ञा पे क्रॉस करती हैं, तो लेफ़्ट ब्रेन जो है वो राइट साइड के शरीर को चलाता है। तो अतिशय फ्यूचर प्लानिंग से हमारे अंदर के हाइपरटेंशन जैसी बीमारियां जो राइट साइड के अतिशय गर्मी से आ जाती हैं। तो ध्यान में बैठ के भी हम कई बार बस सोचते रहते हैं आगे हमें ये करना है वो करना है, इसी कारण हमें स्ट्रेस बना रहता है। तो हमें ध्यान में उस स्थिति में आना है जहाँ पे कि ये विचार शांत हों, जो विचारों के बीच का एक विलंब जो माँ ने बताया है, जो एक स्पेस है दो विचारों के बीच में, उसको प्राप्त करना है ध्यान में।
And one of the best things to do for trying to alleviate stress is to foot soak. You know, just every day you take the foot bath, foot soaking with water and salt, cold water, and you put the ice on the liver as well, because ice will help to cool down the right side. Because oftentimes we're thinking, planning too much, the right side's overworked, and we have a lot of heat. So getting the heat out of the body is important. So foot soaking, ice on the liver.
और एक इलाज जो सहयोग में हम जानते ही हैं कि फुट सोक करने से कई सारी हमारी तकलीफ़ें दूर हो जाती हैं। तो राइट साइड की जो अतिशय गर्मी है वो फुट सोक के पानी में निकल जाती है। इसी तरह से हम लिवर पे जो बर्फ़ रखते हैं, उस प्रक्रिया से भी हम अपने विचारों को शांत कर सकते हैं।
So the more stress we're under, the more we should be meditating. And the more foot soaking and practice we do, it should be a priority. I mean, I'm lucky because I came into Sahaja when I was quite young. I was still at university, and I moved into the ashram, and it was like a very disciplined environment. You know, we get up very early, 4:30 every morning. We'd meditate. We'd Shubit together. We'd all do all the practices together, and everything was focused on around meditation, working out. Then I'd go to the university, come home, foot soak, then again doing all the Sahaj practices, and we'd meditate and sing arti. And all this was very intense, but it gave me a very good discipline for meditation. So it's getting into that routine, getting into that discipline every day. Before you start, you can do a little puja, meditate. You'll find that just 15-20 minutes is good in the morning, and then the same in the evening. And then if you're under more stress, then we'd recommend you do more meditation. Try and do half an hour to an hour in the morning, and then the same in the evening, and foot soaking and stuff. And try to let all the day's problems just go off into the water. And the other good, powerful thing that I found very, very useful is shoe beating. Any problems or any negativities attacking, you can shoe beat all those onto the earth. And sitting on the earth is also very, very powerful.
अंकल समझा रहे हैं कि जितना हमें स्ट्रेस हो उतना ही हमें ध्यान में और ज़्यादा बैठना चाहिए, ध्यान में और उतना गहरा उतरने की कोशिश करना चाहिए। अंकल खुद आश्रम रहे जब वो पढ़ाई कर रहे थे उस समय, तो उनका एक पूरा रूटीन सेट था जिसमें वो ध्यान, फुट सोक, शूबीट आदि सारे जो भी दिनचर्या में हम कर सकते हैं कार्यक्रम करते थे अपनी पढ़ाई के साथ। तो वैसे हमारे लिए सुबह 15-20 मिनट और शाम को वैसे ही ध्यान करना ज़रूरी है और वो काफ़ी है। पर यदि हमें ज़्यादा परेशानी है तो हम और ज़्यादा ध्यान में बैठ सकते हैं, आधे घंटे 1 घंटे के बराबर भी बैठ सकते हैं। और अंकल को एक और जो बहुत ही शक्तिशाली चीज़ लगती है ध्यान में, वो है शूबीट करना। जो भी हमें परेशानियाँ आ रही हैं, जो हमें तंग कर रही हैं, उन सबको हम शूबीट की प्रक्रिया से दूर कर सकते हैं।
And surrender everything. Let Shree Mataji look after your job. Let Shree Mataji look after everything. She's, if you surrender to God, God will look after you. If you're trying to solve it all yourself in your mind, then God will say, okay, you go ahead and solve it yourself. So it's really learning how to let go, because the divine power is there. We just have to remember, we just have to let the divine work it out and surrender to that power.
इसके अलावा हमें असल में सब समर्पित कर देना चाहिए श्री माता जी के चरणों में। भगवान देखते हैं अगर हम सब समर्पित करते हैं तो वो और अच्छा सब हमारे लिए स्वयं ही करते जाते हैं। तो समर्पण सबसे अच्छी प्रक्रिया है हमें अगर स्ट्रेस से उबरना है तो।
Any more question?
Yes, Mataji uncle. A very common query with new yogis who have joined Sahaja Yoga. A lot of them are trying to leave vices like smoking, drinking, and stuff like that. Any advice on that, or any experience that you would like to share on that? How can one avoid such things, or how can one get out of such habits or issues that one is facing?
So all these habits are coming from more from the left side because we develop these habits conditioning. So we've got to just detach as much as we can. So if we really get into meditation, then a lot of these things just drop away. From the experiences I've had, the people that I know that had smoked before, they reach a point where they just give up. It's not something you can force yourself to do. You just at some stage you just realize it's no good. It just drops off. So I think the main thing is just to focus on your meditation. Don't think about anything else but stabilizing your meditation, and then all the rest will fall into place. I think sometimes these habits are there because we've just been doing it for such a long time. So we just have to get ourselves, out of these habits. We can do the opposite. So, try to give up these things and ask Mother for help, because ultimately she has the power to help us to get out of these bad habits.
Anish? प्रॉब्लम हुई, शायद अनिमेश नहीं है। अंकल से सवाल ये पूछा था कि अगर अनिमेश आप बोलना चाहेंगे तो बोलिए आप।
नहीं भैया, मैं बीच में आई गॉट ड्रॉप्ड ऑफ, आप बोल दीजिए प्लीज।
अनिमेश अंकल से सवाल ये पूछा गया था कि अगर हम कोई बुरी आदत छोड़ना चाहें, स्मोकिंग, ड्रिंकिंग, तो किस तरह से छूट जाए। तो अंकल ने उसका एक बहुत सिंपल सा जवाब दिया है कि आप जैसे जैसे ध्यान करेंगे आपको ध्यान में स्टेबिलिटी आती जाएगी, वैसे वैसे आप धीरे धीरे करके देखेंगे कि एक पॉइंट पे आके ये आदतें अपने आप आपसे छूट जाएंगी। तो एडवाइस ये है कि ध्यान धारणा को अच्छे से प्रैक्टिस करिए और श्री माता जी से प्रार्थना करिए कि श्री माता जी के पास ये शक्ति है कि वो सारे वाइसेस या सारी जो भी बुरी आदतें हैं उससे आपको दूर कर सकती हैं, या जिस चीज से दूर होना चाहिए उससे आप दूर हो सकती हैं। ये ज्यादातर परेशानियां जो हैं ये हमारे बाई नाड़ी या हमारी लेफ्ट साइड की प्रॉब्लम से आती हैं। लेफ्ट साइड की प्रॉब्लम जैसे ही दूर होती हैं वैसे ही हमसे ये परेशानियां भी, या ये जो आदतें हम जो भी छोड़ना चाहते हैं, जो भी पोजीशन हम छोड़ना चाहते हैं, वो भी पूरी तरह से दूर हो जाती है। I'll take up the next question, uncle.
Sure.
You used a word, uncle, that when you get stability in meditation. So I just want to understand this first, how to reach that point of stability in meditation. And secondly, uncle, what do you feel when you reach that particular situation, or what does one feel inside?
So what you'll find is that when you stabilize means that your attention is relaxed. You're not going from one point to another. The thoughts slow down, and then you'll find that you'll have big gaps between the thoughts, and they won't bother you. So the thoughts will come, may pop up, but then they'll drop away, and you won't be distracted by it. So it's like waves of thought will come, drop away, and then it's silence again, and then another one will come and drop away. And then that reaches a point where the space is becoming longer and longer between the thoughts. So that's what I mean by stabilizing. Your attention is not getting distracted. So even if there's noise over there outside, your attention is not drawn to that noise. So it's very much inside.
ये सवाल अंकल से किया गया कि स्थिरता, ध्यान में जो स्थिरता होना है उसका असल में तात्पर्य क्या है और हमें उसमें क्या महसूस होगा। तो अंकल ये समझा रहे हैं कि जब हम ध्यान में स्थिर हो जाते हैं तो हमारा चित्त विचलित नहीं होता बाहर की चीज़ों से, विचार आते भी हैं तो अपने आप चले जाते हैं। तो हम एक ऐसी स्थिति में खुद को पाते हैं जहाँ पे हम विचलित नहीं होते हैं। उसे हम कह सकते हैं कि ध्यान में हम स्थिर हो गए हैं।
That's why I said, try to get your focus beyond the mind. So if our focus is stuck here, then we'll be thinking. But if we draw our focus to the Sahasrara and then above that, then you'll find naturally with the Kundalini coming up, it flows through this Agya Chakra, and the Agya Chakra gets cleared, the heat comes up, and then we feel eventually it will go cool because the Kundalini will just bring everything back into balance. Actually, the Kundalini is balancing you all the time. But if we're using, our hands, it's expressing our desire. It's expressing our desire to go deeper in meditation. So doing simple things like raise your Kundalini, breathing. If our attention is drifting, so that exercise I showed before by breathing, lifting the energy, the Kundalini up, breathing in deeply, focus on the top of the head, and then breathe out. Just doing this a few times, just to bring the attention to the Sahasrara. And then every time that the mind starts to drift off, we do this again, bring it up. And then we say, not these thoughts, I forgive my thoughts. So all these things Shree Mataji's taught us to use, these simple things, breathing, the breath, focusing inside and bringing our attention all the time up here.
अंकल समझा रहे हैं कि कैसे हम जब आज्ञा से पार हो जाते हैं तभी हम ध्यान में हमारा चित्त सहस्त्रार पे आ जाता है। तो जिस तरह से अंकल ने हमें ध्यान में भी करके दिखाया था कि हम अपने हाथ से कुंडलिनी को सहस्त्रार तक लाएं, तो और फिर आज्ञा पे जो भी हमें प्रार्थना है, जैसे कि ये विचार हम नहीं है माँ, हम सभी को क्षमा करते हैं, इस तरह से आज्ञा पे प्रार्थनाएं करें तो हम सहस्त्रार पे खुद को स्थापित कर सकते हैं। और जब भी विचलित हो ध्यान हमारा, हम वापस ऐसी प्रक्रिया करके खुद को स्थापित कर सकते हैं सहस्त्रार पे।
And the main problem that people have with their attention is from the liver. So if the chitta, the attention is drifting, we need to work on the liver, because liver is giving you that stability of attention. It's the seat of the attention is the liver.
और यदि हमें हमारा चित्त बहुत विचलित होता है तो उसका एक कारण ये भी है कि हमारा लिवर ठीक नहीं है, तो उसको ठीक करना ज़रूरी है ध्यान में, क्योंकि वहीं लिवर में ही चित्त का स्थान होता है।
So liver provides the energy for the brain. It's metabolizing cholesterol for the brain cells. It's metabolizing fat and oil. All these things it's doing to provide the energy. It's also filtering out toxins, regulating the hormones. So it's doing a lot with the function of the liver. And if we've got a weak liver, if we've had problems like hepatitis or some infections of liver, then we'll probably find it's harder. But there's many liver diets Shree Mataji is given to cleanse the liver, so that we can stabilize our attention and help the meditation.
लिवर कई सारे काम करता है हमारे शरीर में, जिनमें कि एक है जी कि जिससे वो हमारे मस्तिष्क को सोचने विचारने के लिए जो सेल्स हैं वो प्रदान करता है, और वो हमारे शरीर में जो भी विषैली चीज़ें हैं उन सबको भी बाहर निकालता है। और यदि हमें कोई पुराने इन्फेक्शन हो गए हों तो भी इसमें परेशानी बढ़ जाती है। श्री माता जी ने लिवर को ठीक रखने के लिए कई तरह की डाइट्स बताई हैं सहयोग में, जिनसे भी हम लिवर को बैलेंस में रख सकते हैं।
One very good cleansing for the liver is ginger. Ginger is very cleansing. Shree Mataji once she gave me with the sugar, fine sugar and ginger powder, and she mixed it up with her hand like a little thali of mixed it up, and then she spooned it into my mouth, the ginger. So it was very hot, but I could feel the burning, but then I got to the liver and I could feel the whole liver go very cool.
श्री माता जी ने अंकल को एक बार लिवर ठीक करने का एक इलाज जो बताया था, वो बता रहे हैं अंकल कि अदरक को लेके शायद पीसा होगा उसे और उसके साथ शक्कर मिला के और अंकल को खिलाया श्री माता जी ने। बहुत खाने में गर्म लगा हुआ है अंकल को, पर अंकल को बाद में फिर फील हुआ कि लिवर तक जाके ठंडक महसूस हो रही थी उन्हें। तो ये एक इलाज हम भी शायद कर सकते हैं सहयोग में, अगर हमारा लिवर ठीक नहीं है।
Next question. Is there more question, or is that?
Yes, Uncle. Uncle, you spoke about liver and spoke about liver diets. There are specific liver diets that can be followed, Uncle. Is it prescribed in Sahaja Yoga?
Mataji's given quite a few different liver diets, and you can do some detoxing of liver. There's some. She said kokum, which is like a fruit. You make the tea from the kokum, and then you drink that. Things. Haldi turmeric is very powerful antioxidant. So there's various things you can take to help the liver, and the diet is to not to have too many, to have more carbohydrates than protein. Otherwise you heat up less of fats, less of ghee and things like that, which heat up the liver.
सवाल ये था कि लिवर को ठीक करने के लिए कोई डाइट श्री माता जी ने बताई है। तो अंकल बता रहे हैं कि माँ ने कोकम शरबत का बहुत उन्होंने महत्व बताया है, और इसके अलावा हमें कई सारी ऐसी चीज़ें करनी चाहिए जो हम जानते हैं जिनसे कि लिवर ठीक रह सकता है। ज़्यादा फैटी और घी टाइप की चीज़ें हमें कम खानी चाहिए अगर हमें लिवर संबंधी परेशानी है तो।
Shri Mataji, Uncle, I'm sure that would be very helpful for a lot of yogis, especially the ones who have a habit of thinking a lot. I have myself suffered from liver issues. I'll try this out. By Mother's grace, I hope it works out for me. Uncle, from the Q&A session, we'll now move to experiences with Mother. Last time when we spoke to you, I think we were discussing about your experiences with her at the London house. Uncle, we would request you to continue from there on. I also had a lot of questions in terms of how to spread Sahaja, what you did when you were in China. I guess I'll take this in the next session or on this session if we have time, once we are through with experiences with Mother.
So, yes, Mataji. As I said, last session we had, I was staying with Shri Mataji in her house in London, in Brompton Square, and it was really an amazing experience. You could imagine every day you were sitting before Shri Mataji, and then that's how you start the day. I'd serve Shri Mataji the breakfast with tea, and then she'd sit in front. I'd be sitting on the floor, and she'd be just talking about what the plan was for the day, and then we'd go off and do whatever chores or things that she wanted to do. So it was always a joyful thing. You imagine every day to sit before Shri Mataji. So very, very privileged experience for me at that time. I was only around 23 years of age, so I was quite young. And but even then, I had this sense of awe. I had this incredible feeling of, Shri Mataji's presence and vibrations are just overwhelming. You can't think in her presence. I found it. I didn't have to. My attention was just on her, and then everything else was just no thoughts or anything. It was an incredible experience.
तो अब हम अंकल से एक्सपीरियंस सुनने की तरफ मुड़ गए हैं कार्यक्रम में। तो पिछली बार जैसे अंकल ने लंदन में श्री माता जी के साथ जो रहे वो सारे एक्सपीरियंस सुनाए थे, तो उसी के बारे में अंकल और बता रहे हैं कि कैसे उन्हें श्री माता जी के साथ रोज़ उठने बैठने का इतना मौका मिला, इतना समय श्री माता जी के साथ मिला, और कैसे उन्हें श्री माता जी के साथ हमेशा बहुत ही एक ऐसा भाव रहता था जिसमें कि उन्हें लगता था कि वो कितनी बड़ी हस्ती के साथ हैं, और उनको कोई भी विचार नहीं रहता था। वो याद करते हैं तो उन्हें लगता है कि मैं श्री माता जी के साथ जब रहता था तो मुझे कोई विचार ही नहीं होते थे।
So Shri Mataji was preparing the house she wanted to sell the house, and she was redecorating and getting it ready for sale. There were a lot of work, so a lot of yogis were coming to help to decorate, renovate, do different things in the house, and I was helping. And it was quite amazing because, during this time there was all these things that happened and miraculous things that were happening. And I'll share a few of the miracles. When I first came into the house, there was some, I just witnessed a few things which really made me realize that this Shree Mataji's divinity is so clear for me. It was like she just showed me little things, little miracles before my eyes, and I'll share some.
Alish?
Maybe dropped off again, huh?
Shri Mataji, sorry go.
I'm here. I'm here.
Already.
Yeah. I was on mute, sorry. So श्री माता जी जो लंदन का घर था उसे रीडेकोरेट कर रही थी और उस समय कई योगी आते थे वहाँ पे उस कार्य में मदद करने के लिए। और अंकल उस समय से जुड़ी हुई कुछ ऐसे अपने एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करना चाहते हैं जो कि जिन्होंने उनको ये समझा दिया कि श्री माता जी कौन है। तो अंकल अब ये एक्सपीरियंस आगे शेयर करेंगे।
One day, when I first, quite early on, and when I first moved into Mother's house, there were these very nice carpets that she had, these Kashmiri carpets, and every time she walked across the carpets, the colors would change. So the vibrations would sort of, as she walked across, the colors got more intense, and I could see like a wave of color just changing as she went across the carpet. And I was standing back and watching this, and Shree Mataji got to the end of the carpet. She just turned around and she smiled. She said, yes, the carpets respond to vibrations because they're natural. They're made of silk. And the artists that have made them, they're great artists. And some of them are born realized artists that make these carpets, these Kashmiri silk carpets. So she said they're responding to the vibrations as she moved across.
अंकल बता रहे हैं कि उस घर में कुछ कश्मीरी कारपेट थे श्री माता जी के पास और श्री माता जी एक बार उन पे से चल के जा रही थी तो इन्हें लगा अंकल को कि जैसे उनके रंग बदलते जा रहे हैं जैसे जैसे श्री माता जी उन पे चल के जा रही हैं। और जैसे ही एंड पे पहुंची उस कारपेट के तो श्री माता जी मुड़ के उन्होंने देखा अंकल को और बोली कि हाँ ये कारपेट भी मेरे वाइब्रेशन समझते हैं और ये रंग ऐसे बदलते हैं। इनको बनाने वाले भी आत्म साक्षात्कारी आर्टिस्ट थे जिसके कारण ये ऐसा चमत्कार हो रहा है।
And she said, there's a carpet upstairs in the other room, and she said this one has been made by he was a great realized artist, the weaver, and it's an antique. And she said the vibrations were very, very powerful on that carpet. So we went upstairs and she showed me, and then she said, look, and she put her hands like that on the carpet, and it's like the whole carpet color just got more intense. It was like just wave of it went across with vibrations. So it was pretty amazing when you see that these vibrations, the power, like a wave of vibrations just covering, and then the color of the carpet just changing before your eyes. So it's just going, unbelievable to see, but you sort of pinch yourself. It's actually real. Mother's vibrations are changing the matter.
अंकल बता रहे हैं कि उसके बाद श्री माता जी उन्हें एक और कारपेट दिखाने के लिए घर में ऊपर ले गई और वहाँ पे उन्होंने बोला ये भी एक आत्म साक्षात्कारी का बनाया हुआ कारपेट है। और जैसे ही श्री माता जी ने उस पर हाथ रखा कारपेट पे तो ऐसा अंकल को लगा कि जैसे पूरा ही उसका कलर जो है और गहरा होता गया और इंटेंस हो गया और एक वाइब्रेशंस की एक लहर सी महसूस हुई। अंकल कहते हैं कि बिल्कुल वो अविश्वसनीय था और बिल्कुल देख के उस पर विश्वास करना कठिन था, पर श्री माता जी के साथ ऐसे चमत्कार उन्होंने महसूस किए।
And she said it's very important that we buy handmade things made of natural materials, because she said they hold vibrations, and the love that goes into making them is the energy of the love that goes into making these works of art. She said that emits vibration. So if the artist is a realized soul, then the art will continue to emit these very, very strong vibrations. She said all these manufactured carpets and all these things, they don't have any vibrations. You know, they're made artificial, you know, plastics and nylon and this and that. She said it's got no vibrations. It can't retain vibrations. And she was very supportive of the artists. She was always, you know, buying art, supporting all these, you know, buying these beautiful carpets, and these craftsmen of beautiful furniture, making wooden furniture, many things, you know, metalwork, those beautiful inlaid metalwork from Rajasthan and other places, you know. So she had many beautiful artifacts in the house, and she was supporting the artists. She was saying that the problem now is in modern times, everything has become plastic, you know, and we've lost that essence of the connection with the matter and producing things of beauty which hold vibrations.
अंकल बता रहे हैं श्री माता जी बहुत सपोर्ट करती थी आर्टिस्ट लोगों को और हमेशा कहती थी कि हमें हाथ से बनी चीज़ें खरीदना चाहिए क्योंकि इनमें वाइब्रेशंस होते हैं। आजकल जो ये फैक्ट्रीज में मैन्युफैक्चर हो रहा है जिस भी तरह का सामान, उसमें कोई वाइब्रेशंस नहीं होते हैं। तो श्री माता जी कई ऐसे आर्टिस्ट को सपोर्ट करती थी, कारपेट्स बनाने वालों को, फर्नीचर बनाने वालों को और राजस्थान के कारीगर लोगों को, और हमेशा कहती थी कि हमें भी हाथ से बनी चीज़ें खरीदनी चाहिए जिनमें वाइब्रेशंस होते हैं।
One other amazing thing happened when I was there. The servant, CP servant, was an Indian man that had come over to be his servant. He was a small, very small little man. Gurjan Singh, his name was, I think originally from Punjab, but he was there in the house to sort of, you know, prepare, cook, do things, and he was quite insolent. He wasn't very nice to Shree Mataji, and Shree Mataji said he's taking my shoes, and he's hidden them somewhere. So we have to find them, she said, because I think he's taking them to sell them, you know. So this servant was stealing things and then selling them at markets somewhere. And anyway, we were looking all over the house, and then there was this big trunk, a large chest underneath the stairs on the basement level, which was where the dining room was. And in that, she said to me, open up that chest. And then I opened up this big chest, and then the vibrations came out like a gust of cool wind. I mean, just blew me over, this incredible vibration. And all her shoes were there. And then she smiled and she just shook her head like what, and said, shoes are the best because they retained her vibrations, all these leather shoes, because they have been her shoes, and her holy feet were in there. But the vibrations coming from the shoes were so powerful. And then she said, take them back upstairs. So I took the shoes up, one pair at a time. I held them to my chest, took them up with great respect and care, and I placed them there. So it took me a little bit of time to be able to do that. But every time I was just feeling the vibrations of these shoes, which were incredible.
अंकल एक किस्सा बता रहे हैं, जब एक कुक था जो पंजाबी वहाँ पे घर में काम करता था लंदन में, तो वो श्री माता जी के जूते चुरा कर और बाज़ार में बेचने की कोशिश कर रहा था। तो श्री माता जी ने अंकल को बोला कि हमें ढूंढना पड़ेगा कि कहाँ रख रहे हैं छुपा के। तो घर में ढूंढा तो एक ट्रंक में उन्हें एक ट्रंक दिखा श्री माता जी को। उन्होंने श्री माता जी ने कहा अंकल को इसे खोलो। तो अंकल ने जैसे ही उसे खोला तो उसमें से भयंकर एकदम वाइब्रेशंस उन्हें बहते हुए महसूस हुए, उनकी तरफ बहुत ज़ोर से वाइब्रेशंस की धारा महसूस हुई। तो श्री माता जी ने कहा कि जूते सबसे बढ़िया हैं, वो वाइब्रेशंस को एकदम सोख के रख लेते हैं, क्योंकि श्री माता जी के चरणों से जो वाइब्रेशंस बह रहे हैं वो जूतों में आ जाते हैं। तो अंकल को श्री माता जी ने कहा कि इसे आप ऊपर ले जाइए, और अंकल एक एक जूते के पैर को उठा के अपने सीने से लगा के और ऊपर ले जाते गए, पर उन्हें बहुत वाइब्रेशंस उन शूज से महसूस हुए।
When we're renovating and doing, there was some damp problem, and in England the damp is quite a problem because water gets into the wall, and then it moves up the plaster capillary action, and it gets sucked up to the second floor of the house from the basement level. We had this what's called a damp meter. It has two prongs. You put it into the wall, and then it shows on a dial the amount of moisture in the wall, the amount of moisture that's there.
अंकल बता रहे हैं कि इंग्लैंड में दीवारों में पानी घुसने की काफ़ी परेशानी थी, और वो एक फ्लोर से दूसरे फ्लोर तक ऊपर चढ़ते जाता था पानी, और एक यंत्र होता है जिससे कि आप नाप सकते हैं कि कितना मॉइस्चर है दीवार में, ऐसा कांटा उसका हिलता था।
And there was a section which is very damp, and the wallpaper was coming, and Shri said, well, we have to dry this out. So we got these large heaters to heat the room up and take the moisture out. And then we put the meter in. It was showing, it's saturated, And then Shri gave vibrations to the wall, and she said, try again. So they put the meter into the wall, and it just came up a little bit. So through the vibrations, she got the moisture out.
तो ऐसी एक दीवार थी जिसमें से कि बहुत परतें निकल रही थी पानी के कारण। तो अंकल को श्री माता जी ने कहा कि कुछ हीटर्स लाते हैं जिससे कि हम इसको सुखाते हैं। तो उन्होंने काफ़ी सुखाने की कोशिश करी, और फिर वो यंत्र लगाया तो भी काफ़ी पानी की मात्रा वो दिखा रहा था। फिर श्री माता जी ने दीवार को वाइब्रेशंस दिए और फिर कहा कि अब ये यंत्र लगाओ, तो वो बहुत थोड़ा सा ही पानी दिखा रहा था उसके बाद। तो वाइब्रेशन से श्री माता जी ने उस दीवार के पानी को सोख लिया।
And then she said there must be a leak coming from downstairs, because she said, yeah, despite that, the moisture is still there. It's coming up. And then we went back downstairs, and she said she just walked along. There's a hallway, and she walked along, and she said, okay, now just take the tiles up from here. She said the leak is coming here. And so we took the tiles up. They had marble tiles, and underneath were these. It had heating in the floor. There were copper pipes which were in the floor to provide heat in the winter, and the heating was the heating system was hot water running through these pipes, so that made the whole floor warm. Anyway, we took the tile up, and there was a leak that was coming from one of the pipes had broken. And the water had been flowing out of this pipe and all down across the whole dining room, underneath the tiles, and then up into the wall. So she found it with the vibration. She felt, okay, this is where the water's coming. And then we were able to fix it. So it was like she had the sensitivity on the vibrations to know exactly where the water was coming from.
वो दीवार ठीक करने के बावजूद श्री माता जी ने कहा कि कहीं से तो पानी लीक हो रहा है, जिससे कि ये इस तरह से पानी आ रहा है। तो चल के ढूंढते हैं। तो श्री माता जी ने हाथ पे वाइब्रेशंस देख के श्री माता जी ने बताया कि एक ये टाइल है, इसको निकालो। और जब उस टाइल को निकाला तो उसके नीचे, तो इंग्लैंड में इतनी ठंड पड़ती है कि ठंड के समय फ्लोर में भी हीटिंग लगानी पड़ती है। उस हीटिंग के लिए कुछ पाइप्स होते हैं जिनमें से गर्म पानी जाता है। तो वो उनमें से एक पाइप टूट गया था, जिससे कि वो पानी निकल के दीवारों तक जा रहा था। तो श्री माता जी ने बता दिया कि यही वो टाइल है और इसके नीचे यहाँ टूटा है, तो उसको ठीक करते हैं, अब ठीक करते हैं। तो इतनी सेंसिटिविटी अपना हम वाइब्रेशन से हो सकती है कि कहाँ से परेशानी आ रही है वो भी आप पता कर सकते हैं।
So across later on in that, Shri had planned a tour around Europe, and I was asked to help with the video, because I did some video work before, and they needed somebody to help, so I was helping with the filming Shri. So I was very fortunate to be able to travel around to all of the pujas and public programs around Europe for this tour, and it was quite an amazing experience to be able to see Shri at these public programs where thousands of people would be there getting realization, and then we traveled to another city and the same thing. So it was really a privilege to be able to travel with Shri on this tour.
इसके बाद यूरोप का एक टूर रहा श्री माता जी का, जिसमें कि कई पब्लिक प्रोग्राम और पूजाएं ऑर्गेनाइज हुई। उसमें एलेक्स अंकल को कहा गया कि आप वीडियो फिल्मिंग का आप कार्य कीजिए, क्योंकि उन्होंने पहले भी कुछ ऐसा कार्य किया था। तो अंकल को कई सारे ऐसे प्रोग्राम्स में श्री माता जी के साथ जाने का मौका मिला, और बहुत ही अच्छा अवसर उनके लिए ये था।
Shri used to spend hours after the program seeing everybody, working on people, helping them. It was just amazing to see how much effort and time she put into every seeker. Every seeker she would work so hard on to give them the realization so that they'd feel it. And it was really amazing to see how much love and how much attention and the really compassion that she has for each and every one of these seekers that was there. And she said, they're all my children, they're all important. They've all had the troubles, and she said, I just want them to know the truth, to be able to feel this joy of the spirit. So this was really inspiring for me, because I just saw the amount of care, love, and time that she put into, and it was exhausting for everyone around. And Shri Mataji had boundless energy. I mean, she would work very, very late on the program, come back, she would take some food, and then yogis would be there, and she'd be talking and working on yogis till 3 o'clock in the morning, take some rest, then get up, and then again she'd be traveling to another city. So this was the schedule. It was incredible. And Shri Mataji was in her 60s, and nobody could keep up with her. All of us were young, but we were just exhausted. We didn't have half the energy that Shri Mataji had, and the vibrations, and she was never appearing to be tired at all.
अंकल बता रहे हैं कि कैसे पब्लिक प्रोग्राम्स होते थे। तो पब्लिक प्रोग्राम्स के बाद श्री माता जी जो भी नए साधक आते थे, उन सब के साथ घंटों बैठ के उनके साथ कार्य करती थी, ताकि उन्हें आत्म साक्षात्कार की अनुभूति हो। उनकी जो भी परेशानियां होती होंगी, उनको श्री माता जी ठीक करती थी। और उसके बाद भी कई बार फिर ये घंटों प्रोग्राम चलने के बाद फिर वो श्री माता जी जहाँ ठहरी होती थी वहाँ जाते होंगे और खाना खाते थे, और फिर योगी सब बैठ जाते थे श्री माता जी के साथ, सहयोगी, और उनको माँ समझाती थी, उनके साथ कार्य करती थी। तो कई बार सुबह के 3 बज जाते थे, और फिर श्री माता जी थोड़ा सोती, और अगले दिन फिर किसी कार्यक्रम में किसी दूसरे शहर में जाना होता। तो इतना ऐसा कार्यक्रम श्री माता जी का कई दिनों तक चलता रहता। और अंकल बताते हैं कि हम सब तो बहुत यंग थे, श्री माता जी तो उनकी उम्र 60 से ज़्यादा थी उस समय, और हम तो बिल्कुल यंग लोग थे, पर हम उनके साथ इतना कार्य कर ही नहीं पाते थे। हम तो थक जाते थे पूरी तरह से, पर श्री माता जी से के कंपैरिजन में आधी भी हम में एनर्जी नहीं होती थी। तो और श्री माता जी ऐसा कहती थी कि ये सब नए साधक मेरे बच्चे हैं, और इन्हें कई तकलीफ़ें उठानी पड़ी हैं अभी तक, और मुझे उन्हें समय देना ही है, उन्हें ठीक करना ही है। तो श्री माता जी ऐसे लगे रहते थे, बहुत मेहनत करते थे सब नए साधकों के लिए।
I remember one puja in Paris, and I was filming with the video camera, and I was looking through the viewfinder of the camera and zooming into Shri Mataji's lotus feet. And then I got in, I just was watching Mother's feet, and I got completely lost in Mother's feet, and I could just feel the vibrations getting stronger and stronger. And then at that moment, I looked at Shree Mataji, and she looked at me and she smiled, and she saw that the vibration and the Kundalini was just flowing so strongly from me, and this joy was there, and she knew exactly what I was feeling. I could feel this instant connection. We looked at each other at the same time, but it was such an incredible experience because I'd just gone into such a deep state on Mother's lotus feet, meditating on Mother's lotus feet.
अंकल एक पेरिस में एक पूजा में वीडियो शूटिंग कर रहे थे श्री माता जी की, और श्री माता जी के चरणों पे उन्होंने जूम कर रखा था कैमरा, और उसी को देखते देखते अंकल बहुत गहरे ध्यान में, निर्विचारिता में चले गए और पूरी तरह से खो गए। और फिर उन्हें बहुत वाइब्रेशंस फील हुए और बहुत अच्छी स्थिति ध्यान की महसूस होने लगी। तो एकदम से उन्होंने श्री माता जी की तरफ देखा और श्री माता जी ने भी उनकी तरफ देखा और ऐसे सिर हिलाया जैसे कि श्री माता जी समझ गए कि उन्हें क्या महसूस हो रहा है, और उनके लिए ये एक बहुत ही सुंदर अनुभव था।
And then it was these moments that you have these inspirations, these incredible deep experiences, and they come, just spontaneously, just being with Shree Mataji, and those special times that are just so special that they are embedded into you. You feel them and you remember them, and the flow of vibrations again. If I put attention on it, I just go into meditation again. It's really an amazing experience.
इस तरह के कई एक्सपीरियंस अंकल को आते रहे सहजी श्री माता जी के साथ, और वो इतने गहन है कि अभी भी श्री माता जी को याद करते हैं, उन एक्सपीरियंस को याद करते हैं तो अंकल पूरी तरह से ध्यान में चले जाते हैं और उसका आनंद उठाने लगते हैं।
There was one program actually in England, and a gentleman came in a wheelchair, and Shree Mataji said, we can cure you with the vibration, and mother actually worked on him, and he was paralyzed on the legs, and then she worked on his spine, and she put her hand there, and she said, now you can walk now, you can get up. And he stood up. I mean, in the wheelchair, he sort of lifted himself, and he said, I can feel my legs. He said, I couldn't feel them before. He said, I can feel my legs. He was crying, because he was taking small steps. And he said, it's a miracle. And this experience, when you see this with Shree Mataji actually healing, like the stories of Christ where Christ was healing people, and Shree Mataji was doing that. And afterwards, she said, every so often she just has to, she would do something, but she said, my job is not here to heal people, because my job is to give realization, and then people can heal themselves. But she said he was a great seeker, and he had an accident and then lost his use of his legs. So she said it was his blessing to get healed by the goddess.
एक पब्लिक प्रोग्राम में इंग्लैंड में एक महाशय आए जो कि व्हील चेयर पे आए, और वो पैरालाइज थे, मतलब उनकी टांगें पूरी तरह से बेकार हो गई थी, वो चल नहीं पाते थे। और कार्यक्रम के बाद श्री माता जी ने उनसे कहा कि हम आपको ठीक कर सकते हैं, आपकी टांगें फिर से ठीक हो जाएंगी, आप चलने लगेंगे, आपके पैर ठीक हो जाएंगे। तो श्री माता जी ने उनकी रीढ़ की हड्डी पे काम किया, काफ़ी देर तक उन्हें वाइब्रेशंस दिए, और फिर कहा कि अब आप खड़े हो जाइए और अब आप चल सकते हैं। तो वो महाशय धीरे धीरे खड़े होने लग गए उनकी व्हील चेयर पे ही ऐसे, और वो कहने लग गए कि मैं अपने पैरों को पहली बार महसूस कर पा रहा हूँ, क्योंकि आज तक वो नहीं कर पाते थे। और फिर उन्होंने थोड़े थोड़े कदम भी लेना चालू कर दिया, और उनकी आंखों से आंसू बहने लग गए, क्योंकि हम समझ सकते हैं कितनी बड़ी चीज़ ऐसे किसी इंसान के लिए हुई होगी। तो श्री माता जी ऐसे कई चमत्कार करती थी जहाँ पे कि वो लोगों को अकस्मात ठीक कर देती थी। और अंकल याद करें कि जैसे जीसस क्राइस्ट के अनुभव रहे हैं जो हमने पढ़े हैं कि वो लोगों को ठीक कर देते थे हाथ रख के उनके ऊपर, उस तरह से श्री माता जी भी ऐसे चमत्कार करती थी। पर श्री माता जी हमेशा कहती थी कि ठीक करना, लोगों की बीमारियां ठीक करना ध्येय नहीं है, उनको आत्म साक्षात्कार दें और वो खुद ठीक हो जाएं। पर ये जो महाशय थे ये एक बहुत बड़े साधक थे, और उनको वो आशीर्वाद मिलना उस समय निश्चित था, इसलिए श्री माता जी ने उन्हें ठीक किया।
And then towards the end of the year, around November, Shri said we're going to need to go back, so back to India. So because the tour was going to be starting in December, so we were very busy packing everything up. Mother was packing all the suitcases, which was always a lot of things being shifted around, saris being packed, and then different things. So I was just helping, and she had some of the ladies to help to pack her suitcases. So this was going on for quite a few days, and then eventually we'd finished, and then we were getting ready to fly to Mumbai, and then at that stage I was the only one accompanying Shri Mataji, and the English had only bought Shri Mataji a economy ticket back to India, which was kind of surprising because you'd think that they would give Shri Mataji the best travel, first class travel, but they'd only paid for an economy ticket, and there was a real Nabi problem with the English at that time.
अंकल बता रहे हैं कि ये टूर ख़त्म होने के बाद इंडिया टूर चालू होना था दिसंबर में, और उसके लिए काफ़ी पैकिंग चल रही थी, और कुछ महिलाएं भी सहयोगी श्री माता जी की मदद कर रही थी ताकि इंडिया टूर के लिए तैयार हो सकें, और अंकल भी श्री माता जी के साथ जा रहे थे। और उस समय इंग्लिश जो कलेक्टिविटी थी वो श्री माता जी के ट्रैवल के लिए टिकट्स अरेंज करवाती थी, तो उन्होंने सिर्फ इकोनॉमी क्लास का टिकट करवाया था। हम सोच सकते हैं कि श्री माता जी के लिए तो हम कम से कम फर्स्ट क्लास ट्रैवल तो अरेंज करवा ही सकते हैं, क्योंकि श्री माता जी इतने टूर करती, इतना काम कर रही हैं सहयोग का।
And then when we entered the aircraft, the stewardess had asked us to come into the business class section, and she said the captain has asked me to bring you to the business class section, and it turned out that the captain of the aircraft was a Sahaja. So he insisted that Shri Mataji and also me were I was accompanying Shri Mataji. I was the only one accompanying her this time, and we sat together in the business class section.
जब वो प्लेन में चढ़े श्री माता जी के साथ, तो वहाँ पे जो स्टीवर्डेस थी उन्होंने बोला कि श्री माता जी और उनके साथ अंकल भी फर्स्ट क्लास में आके बैठे बिजनेस क्लास में, क्योंकि जो कैप्टन थे उन्होंने ऐसी रिक्वेस्ट करी। तो प्लेन के जो कैप्टन थे वो बाद में पता चला कि वो सहयोगी थे, उन्होंने रिक्वेस्ट करी कि श्री माता जी कम से कम बिजनेस क्लास में बैठ के ट्रैवल करें उनके साथ।
And every time Shri Mataji was traveling, of course, all the yogis were coming out to bid farewell to Shri Mataji as she flew from England to Mumbai. And all the yogis were sort of sad to see Shri Mataji go, and there were so many flowers offered to Shri Mataji. And then we took some of the flowers on. I had a big bundle of flowers when I came onto the aircraft, and then we flew to Mumbai, and we arrived. I can't remember. It was quite late after midnight, and the whole airport was just full of yogis, and all again with flowers and so joyful to see Shri Mataji. And it was from one end people were sad, and then she said to me, "Yes, she said, I get sad to leave the children here, but then I'm very happy because I know that I'm going to see my children in India." So she came out, and what amazed me was that even though we fly, she always was fresh. She always came extremely fresh and joyful and full of love. And again, in India, she was, many people came, and she took the flowers, and she was listening to people and saying hello to people. And she took so much time and attention on everyone, and that were welcoming her and very happy to see them.
अंकल बता रही जैसे जब लंदन से इंडिया गए तो लंदन के सहयोगी श्री माता जी को छोड़ने आए एयरपोर्ट पे, तो सब काफ़ी दुखी थे क्योंकि श्री माता जी को अलविदा कह रहे थे, और काफ़ी सारे अपने साथ फूल लेके आए जो श्री माता जी को सब देते थे जाते समय। तो वो सारा बंच अंकल हाथ में लेके बैठे थे प्लेन में, और जब मुंबई पहुंचे तो काफ़ी देर हो चुकी थी मध्य रात्रि के बाद। तो अंकल ने फिर भी देखा कि पूरा एयरपोर्ट जैसे कि भरा हुआ था सहयोगियों से, और सब इतने खुश थे श्री माता जी आ रही थी। तो श्री माता जी कहती मेरे साथ यही होता है कि इधर मैं बच्चों को छोड़ के जाती हूँ, उसका दुख रहता है, पर वहाँ और बच्चे जो इंतज़ार कर रहे हैं उनसे मिलने की खुशी रहती है। और श्री माता जी ने इतना ट्रैवल वगैरह करने के बाद भी वो श्री माता जी एकदम फ्रेश रहती थी और सबको बहुत टाइम देती थी, सबसे अच्छे से इतनी बात करती थी खूब देर तक, जो कि उनको वेलकम करने में खुश हो रहे थे सब लोग। तो इस तरीके का एक्सपीरियंस अंकल ने भी सुना है।
Then we spent a few days in Mumbai, and then they'd organized to have a tour of Maharashtra. This is before all the Western yogis arrived. It was a private tour just with Shree Mataji and a few carloads of yogis traveling around. And we visited a lot of Maharashtrian villages, small places in the countryside, and a gathering of thousands and thousands of villagers. You know, they'd just come on bullock carts and they come on tractors and the farmers, and she would have these big programs. And it was such a, I think that I was the only Westerner that was there, and it was such a privilege to be able to see this. I was, you know, helping with the filming again, and some very special programs where everyone would just get realization. It was so easy compared to the West for the Indians to get their self-realization. I mean, all of them felt cool breeze. They were all smiling. And she said to me that because they're in touch with Maharashtra, you know, there's a vibrating land. She said because the yogis are, the seekers are all working, they're farmers. She said they're in touch with the Mother Earth. She said they're not complicated, they're simple. That's why they can get realization very easily.
इंडिया आने के बाद श्री माता जी के साथ अंकल का महाराष्ट्र टूर रहा, जिसमें कि कई गांवों में श्री माता जी के साथ वो गए, और वो अकेले ही वेस्टर्नर सहयोगी थे, बाकी सब इंडियंस थे जो श्री माता जी के साथ जा रहे थे। और कई गांवों में कार्यक्रम हुए जहाँ पे कि बिल्कुल ठेठ गांव के लोग, किसान जो कि ट्रैक्टर पे आ रहे हैं, कोई बैलगाड़ियों पे आ रहे हैं, और भीड़ की भीड़, हज़ारों की तादाद में कार्यक्रम में ऐसे लोग आते थे गाँव में, और सब के सब इतनी आसानी से पार हो जाते थे। सबको सिर पे ठंडा चैतन्य महसूस होता था और सबके चेहरे खिले होते थे। श्री माता जी बताती थी कि क्योंकि ये गाँव के लोग हैं, जो कि पहली बात तो महाराष्ट्र भी एक बहुत ही पुण्य भूमि है, और गाँव के लोग जो धरती से इतने जुड़े होते हैं, जो खेती में भूमि माता से इतने जुड़े होते हैं, वो बहुत सहज सरल लोग होते हैं, और इसलिए आसानी से वो पा लेते हैं।
And then after the tour, we went to Ganapatapuli. It's not to Ganapatapuli. We went to Bordi. It was the year before. I think the next year they went to Ganapatapuli, but this year was the last year that Shree Mataji went to Bordi, which was just north of Mumbai, up the coast. And this is where we started the tour, where all the Westerners would arrive. So we had the beginning of the tour in Bordi.
इसके बाद बोर्डी का कार्यक्रम हुआ, जहाँ पे वो जो कि मुंबई से थोड़ा ऊपर समुद्र एक तट है, उसके अगले साल से फिर गणपति फूले में ही कार्यक्रम होने लगे। ये आखिरी साल था बोर्डी में कार्यक्रम होने का।
And then we had the tour. It was again one of those beautiful tours. This time I wasn't sick. The first tour I got very ill, but this year, after spending that year with Shree Mataji, I was very, very clear, and I had a wonderful tour. I didn't get sick at all, and I really enjoyed the opportunity for doing pujas and spending that time with Shree Mataji. You know, at the pujas, and it was really again another level of deepening on this tour from the first time I went. It was after a year with Sri Mataji, and then I could really feel the blessing of and the power of the Mother Earth of India. It really is the Kundalini of the universe.
इसके बाद जो टूर रहा वो अंकल ने बहुत बहुत एंजॉय किया। अंकल बताते हैं पहला जो टूर था उसमें अंकल बहुत बीमार रहे थे, पर क्योंकि श्री माता जी के साथ 1 साल वो रहे तो बहुत पूरी तरह से क्लियर हो गए, और इस बार के टूर में इंडिया के वो बिल्कुल भी परेशान नहीं हुए और उन्हें बहुत आनंद मिला कहीं पूजाओं में भाग लेने का और श्री माता जी के साथ इतना टूर में घूमने का। और उन्होंने सच में महसूस किया कि कैसे भारत की भूमि इतने इतनी पुण्यवान है, इतने इसमें वाइब्रेशंस हैं, और कैसे सच में विश्व की कुंडलिनी यहीं पर है।
And what always impressed me was the bhakti of the Indian brothers and sisters. They really had such a incredible sense of bhakti towards Sri Mataji, and the preparation of the pujas, the decoration of the pendles, just the I would say the level of detail, the level of attention, the level of desire of expression of art and beauty to please Sri Mataji. And it was simple things, beautiful flower decorations, some ornaments, some background decorations, some backdrops. All these things were done with such care and attention. It was really joyful to see, how much dedication and love they all had for Shri Mataji.
अंकल ने देखा कि कैसे भारतीय योगियों में एक अलग ही स्तर की भक्ति और समर्पण था श्री माता जी के लिए, और जो पूजाएं होती थी उनमें कितनी मेहनत करते थे डेकोरेशन के लिए और साज सज्जा के लिए, अलग अलग चीज़ें लगा के फूलों से डेकोरेशन आदि करने में। तो एक वो भक्ति का स्तर अंकल को वहाँ पे भारतीय सहयोगियों का समझ में आया।
Now, mindful of the time, we've been talking for quite a time now. I'm just wondering, would you like to finish up with the meditation, and then we can do another session for talking about a little bit of spreading Sahaja Yoga in China, or do you want to keep going?
Shindriya.
Uncle, we'll continue with the experience sharing session, and probably the Hong Kong session the China part will take in the next session, if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Beautiful,
So maybe
beautiful vibrations coming from. Yeah. We'll continue till the time you can continue, Uncle.
Achha. And then I guess after the India tour, I was married in this time. I got married, and then I traveled back to Australia. And then I settled down there, and within a year or so, I had my first child. And then she was my daughter, Rosie. And then then we had a couple of years between, and then we had another daughter, Sophie. So during this time in Australia, I was working and living in the ashram. And then Shri Mataji came for a couple of tours, and then again I was fortunate to be able to do the video work and travel with Shri Mataji again. And it was again another wonderful experience to be able to see Mother again. I found it difficult at first because when I got back, because I'd been with Shri Mataji, so we had such intense time with Shri Mataji during that whole year. And then coming to India and having wonderful experience again, and then coming back to Australia, and then the reality of I've got to get a job now, I've got a family now, and all these things sort of hit me. And I was kind of, it took me a while to readjust. It was like a fairy tale, and then all of a sudden I'm back in this illusion of Maya, with having to get a job and work and support my family and all these things. So it was a big adjustment for me coming back after being with Shri Mataji for a whole year, and then coming back to this illusion. I call it the Maya.
तो अंकल बता रहे हैं कि कैसे अंकल 1 साल करीब श्री माता जी के साथ रहे और यूरोप टूर किया, इंडिया टूर किया, और फिर उसके बाद अंकल ऑस्ट्रेलिया आ गए और वहाँ पे अंकल की शादी हो गई, अंकल के बच्चे हो गए और एक पूरा परिवार उनका चालू हो गया और वो नॉर्मल जॉब उन्होंने ढूंढना चालू किया और जो घर गृहस्थी का कार्य है वो एक तरीके से उनके लिए चालू हो गया। तो उनके लिए एक एडजस्टमेंट रहा कि कैसे 1 साल उन्होंने पूरा श्री माता जी के साथ जो ध्यान धारणा में बिताया होगा, उसके बाद पूरी तरह से एक शिफ्ट हो गया जहाँ पे कि उन्हें अपने रेगुलर घर गृहस्थी को संभालने के कार्यक्रम में जुटना पड़ा।
And then there was some opportunities to travel with Shree Mataji around Australia, which I'd always volunteered to do, of course, and help with the video work. So I got to go on a couple of Australia tours again with Shree Mataji, which was really wonderful to be with Shree Mataji again.
उसके बाद अंकल को ऑस्ट्रेलिया में ही श्री माता जी के कुछ टूर हुए। श्री माता जी भी आए ऑस्ट्रेलिया में और उन टूर्स में अंकल को श्री माता जी के साथ घूमने का और अलग अलग प्रोग्राम्स में जाने का मौका मिला, जहाँ पे कि वो फिर से श्री माता जी का वीडियो लेने का कार्य करते थे।
And it's funny because there were problems with the collective. The vibrations weren't good when I came back, and I was really, just shocked at some, very serious void problems that were in the whole collective. And I wanted to just call Shree Mataji up, and then I checked the vibrations, and it was like I have to stay there and work it out. So I was trying to work it out, and then all of a sudden there was a call from Mother to tell the leader that his wife was off and she had to get out of the ashram and go over to I think she was sent to Austria to clear herself. So it was funny because I sensed there was a problem, and then I just prayed to Mother, please help to solve this problem. And then it was like the next day this phone call came, and then all of a sudden this problematic lady who was the leader's wife was sent over to another place to work it out.
इसके बाद अंकल बताते हैं कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया में भी अंकल आश्रम में रह रहे थे, तो वहाँ पे काफ़ी कलेक्टिविटी में उन्हें कैचेस पता चलते थे भवसागर के। तो अंकल सोच रहे थे कि मैं श्री माता जी को या तो फ़ोन करके पूछूं कि माँ कैसे इसे ठीक करें। तो अगले ही दिन उनको ये विचार आया और अगले ही दिन श्री माता जी का वहाँ आश्रम में फ़ोन आया कि जो लीडर हैं वहाँ पे सहजो कि उनकी जो वाइफ हैं उनकी कुछ स्थिति ठीक नहीं है और उन्हें ऑस्ट्रिया भेज दिया गया था ताकि वो अपने आप को वहाँ पे ठीक कर सकें चक्रों को। तो अंकल ने देखा कि कैसे उन्होंने एक दिन विचार किया और उस अगले दिन ही श्री माता जी ने उस पर कार्य कर दिया।
So when Shree Mataji came on that tour, then she worked it out, and she said that the whole collective had been caught up. Everybody was catching on void, and this woman had, through negativity, had caught the whole collective up. And I was kind of shocked because I thought, how can a whole collective get caught up like that? And she said to me that the negativity was very strong and very cunning. And through the leader's wife, it was working out, and the leader was mesmerized by this woman and a lot of yogis around her. She had all these group of people around her, and she said through that it all just most people were mesmerized, and she said they all got possessed. So they had to do a lot of cleansing, a lot of clearing to be able to clear out all the negativity that was there. And I think this is something we have to be alert and aware about. Because if there's somebody who's quite negative, who's got a lot of negativity there, they can actually get a whole collective can get caught up.
उसके बाद जब श्री माता जी आई ऑस्ट्रेलिया, तो श्री माता जी ने कहा कि पूरा जो सामूहिकता है ऑस्ट्रेलिया की वो एक तरीके से जकड़ी हुई है काफ़ी नेगेटिविटी में, और उसका कारण वो महिलाएं थी जिनको कि श्री माता जी ने वहाँ से भेज दिया था। तो क्योंकि वो लीडर की वाइफ थी तो उनके थ्रू भी काफ़ी लोगों तक उनकी पहुंच रही होगी। तो अंकल को काफ़ी शौक लगा कि कैसे एक व्यक्ति पूरी सामूहिकता को इस तरह से पकड़ सकता है, जकड़ सकता है। तो श्री माता जी ने कहा कि ऐसा संभव है, और वो नेगेटिविटी उनके अंदर कुछ ज़्यादा ही स्ट्रांग थी और वो मेस्मराइज कर सकते थे लोगों को। इस तरह से एक ग्रुप बनता गया तो अंकल कह रहे हैं कि हमें भी इस चीज़ के लिए बहुत सतर्क रहना चाहिए कि इस तरह से किसी ग्रुप में और किसी के चंगुल में हमें नहीं पड़ना चाहिए.
And if it happens in that sense, then the whole of Sahaja Yoga can be taken into a different direction. And it's very clear, you know, if you feel it starts like maybe a Swadhisthana and void problem, and then it gets more and more, so that the void gets caught up completely, so that your guru tattva, the guru principle, is lost, so that your whole void is caught up, and then you don't feel vibration. You can't tell what is right and what is wrong. So for a yogi, it's very important to know your vibrations and know which catches you have, and then work on those catches to be purifying your instrument, so that anything like this happens, you can immediately feel it on the vibration. Some people were sort of feeling a little bit. They felt they couldn't meditate. They felt the agya. They felt block on the sarasrara. So we just have to be, trying to purify our own instrument so that we are completely stabilized.
इस तरह की कोई भी अगर नेगेटिविटी का आक्रमण आता है तो हमें सजग रहना चाहिए, हमें हमारे वाइब्रेशंस देखते रहना चाहिए. अगर ये स्वादिष्ठान से चालू होता है और भवसागर पे पकड़ लेता है, जो हमारा गुरु तत्व है उसको पकड़ लेता है, तो हमें इस चीज़ के लिए सजग रहना चाहिए. और कई और लोग भी अंकल के साथ महसूस कर पा रहे थे, जो उन्हें आज्ञा और सहस्त्रार पे एक अवरोध सा महसूस होता था, ध्यान हो नहीं पा रहा था ठीक से. तो ऐसी चीज़ों को लेके हमें सजग रहना चाहिए और हमारे वाइब्रेशंस देखते रहना चाहिए.
So one of the amazing things, I guess, for when I became a father was my daughters are born realized, and then the vibrations coming from my wife's tummy when the baby was in her before she was born. There's incredible vibrations coming from her tummy. And then when my daughter was born, the vibrations were just incredible. It was like, again, a puja where a realized soul had taken birth on the earth. And we can feel that mother's tension and mother's love was flowing there for the whole birth. It went very smoothly. And then my first daughter was born. But that experience was again another very special experience.
अंकल बता रहे हैं कि जैसे उनकी जब पहली बेटी का जन्म हुआ तो वो जन्म से ही आत्म साक्षात्कारी थी. जब माँ के गर्भ में थी तभी गर्भ से ही उन्हें बहुत अच्छे वाइब्रेशंस आते थे, और जब उसका जन्म हुआ तो अंकल को ऐसे वाइब्रेशंस आए जैसे कि एक पूजा से आते हैं, क्योंकि एक आत्म साक्षात्कारी का जन्म हो रहा था.
And then as you see your daughter grow up, it's also a very wonderful thing. And then the sensitivity of vibrations are there, and because they realize they have some innate qualities which you can see just at that age, even when they're young.
जैसे जैसे वो बड़े होते गए, अंकल ने देखा कि उन्हें वाइब्रेशंस को लेके बहुत सेंसिटिविटी थी और उनको कुछ समझ थी अंदर से ही कि वाइब्रेशंस के बारे में.
And just giving everyone so much joy, the children in general, they give a lot of joy when you see the children. And when you see Shree Mataji with children, it's also so joyful, and the children feel that love and vibration from Shree Mataji. And she always enjoyed having a lot of children around.
बच्चे वैसे ही बहुत आनंद का कारण होते हैं, और श्री माता जी के साथ जब भी बच्चों को देखा है उन्होंने तो बहुत ही आनंद मिला है, और श्री माता जी हमेशा पसंद करती थी कि कई सारे बच्चे उनके आसपास रहें.
So when Shree Mataji came to Australia, we asked her to give her name, and then she said, "You can call her Radhika." So she called her Radhika.
श्री माता जी ने उनकी पहली बेटी जब वो ऑस्ट्रेलिया आई तो अंकल ने कहा कि श्री माता जी आप एक नाम इसके लिए बताइए, तो श्री माता जी ने उनकी बेटी को राधिका नाम दिया.
And then she came for one of the pujas, which was in the Sarasara of Australia in the Kosciuszko National Park at a place called Threadbow. So we celebrated the Sarasara Day puja in this beautiful park. It's like up in the mountains, the Sarasara of Australia. And Shri had the puja there. So it was really a beautiful experience again, where she worked out a lot of things for the collective, and a lot of things worked out at that point vibrationally. So she's looking after everything. When even if there's problems, but she's always there. And if you're a good instrument, you can also help to solve those problems which may come up.
इसके बाद अंकल बता रहे हैं कि एक पूजा हुई सहस्त्रार पूजा, जो कि एक ऐसे स्थान पे थी जहाँ श्री माता जी ने बताया कि वो ऑस्ट्रेलिया का सहस्त्रार है, पहाड़ों में कहीं ये पूजा हुई, जिसमें कि बहुत ही आनंद है और कई सारी चीज़ों पे श्री माता जी ने काम किया और श्री माता जी सबका वहाँ पे ध्यान रख रही थी बहुत.
And my father is also, who's an artist, and together we made a Shri chakra out of stained glass, colored glass. So we made this. It was a very large one, and we wanted to show Shree Mataji, but there was a problematic leader at the time, and he refused to let us put this as a backdrop for Mother, and he wouldn't let us put it there, so we had to put it at the back of the puja hall, and then Shri Mataji immediately saw it, and she went up and she said, "So beautiful." She said, I want one like that for my house in Protestant." And then my father went over to make that in Protestant. So if you go into Protestant, there's a beautiful colored glass in one of the windows, a round one. And my father had made that. He went to Protestant and got all the glass and the lead, let's call lead light glass. And so he made that for Shri Mataji's house in Protestant.
अंकल बता रहे हैं कि उनके पिताजी एक आर्टिस्ट थे और पूजा में श्री माता जी के लिए उन्होंने कांच पे एक श्री चक्र बनाया था और वो श्री माता जी के पीछे उसे रखना चाहते थे, पर किसी कारण उन्हें रखने नहीं दिया गया, तो उन्होंने हॉल के एंड में उसे रखा और जैसे श्री माता जी आई उन्होंने देखा तो श्री माता जी ने बोला, अरे कितना सुंदर है, मुझे भी चाहिए कि मेरे घर के लिए जो पुणे में प्रतिष्ठान है. तो फिर अंकल ने प्रतिष्ठान में भी एक ऐसा ही श्री चक्र बनाया, जो कि एक कलरफुल ग्लास पे उन्होंने ऐसा एक श्री चक्र वहाँ बना के आज भी रखा हुआ है.
So I'll leave it there. I think we've gonna we could go on for all night, but I would like to, maybe we do a little meditation and then we can finish up.
Uncle, we'll share some photos, or should we reserve that for the next session?
Or you can share some photos. It's okay.
Okay, Uncle. Okay. Mayank, would you be able to share photos? Yes, Uncle. Photos will be there on your screen right now.
Yeah. So this is one of the, I think it was at one of the when we were in India, Mother had come and we were just gathering there, and she was sitting talking to the yogis. I think it was in Mumbai, if I'm not mistaken. This is at in Lucknow. Shri Mataji had I think it was a paternal nephew who was getting married. I think it was on CP's side of the family. And so Shri Mataji had traveled up to Lucknow for the wedding, and I'd come along to that. And then these ladies were singing bhajans, and Shri Mataji was singing with them. And this is a photo of them at that point, just casually sitting around and singing a bhajan. And this is at the wedding. Actually, I think we had this last time, but this is the couple that were married, and Shri Mataji was very gracious, and she spent quite a bit of time helping with the decoration, the bride, and really special, this time for this couple, giving the blessings. And this one is at one of the, when we were at the airport, I think, no, public program in Hong Kong. This was actually the first time we'd had a lot of Chinese coming into the program. Before Shri Mataji had come to Hong Kong, she didn't really have that many Chinese attending the program. So this is one of the programs, public programs that we had. Lots of Chinese came. And this is at the airport. I think we were saying farewell to Shri Mataji. She was leaving, and we had all the yogis together. Were coming to say goodbye to Shri Mataji. And the little girl on the lower part there is my second daughter, Sadhana. She's standing close to mother. And this was a puja in Switzerland. And this is a photo that I took, just Shri Mataji talking to all the yogis at the beginning of the, it was like a 3-day seminar, and mother was talking with the yogis. And the gentleman is actually, sorry, go back to that other photo. Yeah, so the gentleman talking to Shri Mataji is Patak Pawa. He was a Kathak dancer, quite a famous one in London, and he'd come across to perform for Shri Mataji. This was at one of the public programs that Mother had on this tour back in 1985 or 84 tour. I think it was 84, and I think this was at the might have been in Lucknow, if I can remember. And this was actually, this is where we had the puja, the Guru Puja. In 1984, it was a large castle in France, and we'd had this. It was actually in the chapel of this big castle, and this was a Renaissance castle, a few hundred years old. But it was a school, and we had the puja at this venue. Okay. So maybe we can finish out with a little bit of meditation.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
We'll
So let's
start with
just. Sorry.
We'll start with the meditation session.
Yeah. So we can just bring our, again, breathing in, bringing our Kundalini up to focus back to Sahasrara. Just raising the Kundalini, breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Raising the Kundalini, breathing in. Just focus where the Kundalini we're feeling above the Sahasrara. Just imagine where Shri Mataji is sitting in front of us. We're sitting before her lotus feet. We can take Shri Mataji's 3 great mantras. Om Tvamiva Sakshat Shri Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Mahakali Trigunatmika Kundalini Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Om Tvamiva Sakshat Shri Kalki Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Om Tvamiva Sakshat Shri Kalki Sakshat Shri Sahasrara Swamini Moksha Pradayini Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha Lo Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Ki Jai. Jai Shri Mataji. Collectively we can raise our Kundalini and put ourselves in the body. Jai Shri Mataji.
Jai Shri Mataji, Uncle.
Jai Shri Mataji.
Wonderful session, Uncle. The mother was very kind and the flow of vibrations was very strong. I would like Mama Sushma Vijayvargi to come online. Mama, if you do a thank you note, after that we'll close the session.
Okay. Good.
Jai Shri Mataji, Mama.
lost in meditation.
Yeah, I think so. Or some technical trouble, either of the two things. She's there. She's there.
Yes.
She's on.
जय श्री माता जी, जय श्री माता जी। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद श्री माता जी को भी और एलेक्स साहब को भी, सभी सहयोगियों को भी। श्री माता जी ने हमें इतना आनंद प्रदान किया जिसका हम शब्दों में वर्णन नहीं कर सकते। पूरा चैतन्य पूरे कमरे में हो गया था, एकदम कमरा ठंडा हो गया और इतना आनंद आ रहा था कि जैसे हम भी उनके साथ साथ श्री माता जी के अनुभव माँ के साथ रह रहे हो, ऐसा आनंद आ रहा था। जब उन्होंने वो वर्णन किया कि वो श्री माता जी के शूज अपने सीने से लगा के गए, तो ऐसा मन भर गया कि श्री माता जी आपकी ही कृपा है कि आपके भक्त इतना आनंद प्राप्त करें। ये बहुत बड़ी बात है, श्री माता जी की कृपा है। हम आगे भी उन्हें इस तरह से और बुलाते रहेंगे, ऐसी हमारी उनसे भी प्रार्थना है और श्री माता जी से भी। हमारा ये जो ज़ूम पर और यूट्यूब पर हमारा ये जो प्रोग्राम चल रहा है, ये प्रोग्राम हमारा 2 बार रियलाइज़ेशन होता है इसमें, सवा 4 बजे और पौने 8 बजे इसमें हम आत्म साक्षात्कार देते हैं और फिर जो लोग जुड़ जाते हैं उनको हम 5:30 बजे बुलाते हैं ध्यान के लिए। बहुत ही आनंद आता है, लोगों को बहुत-बहुत फ़ायदा हो रहा है। तो लगा अब इनको गहनता में कैसे उतारें? तो ये श्री माता जी का ही आशीर्वाद है कि फिर इन लोगों के लिए हमने धीरे-धीरे इस तरह से प्रोग्राम रखना शुरू किया और अलग-अलग लोग इस लिंक पर आते गए। पहले हमने योगी महाजन, तलवार साहब, पाई साहब, ऐसे बहुत सारे लोगों को इनवाइट किया। श्री माता जी के आशीर्वाद से सभी के अलग-अलग अनुभव, अलग-अलग आनंद हमें प्राप्त हुआ। एक बात हमने जो अनुभव की इस पूरे प्रोग्राम में, जो हम अलग-अलग जो माँ के प्रिय बच्चे माँ के साथ रहे हैं, उनको बुलाया, तो उससे हमारी तो गहनता बढ़ी, हमारा चैतन्य तो बढ़ा। साथ ही साथ जो लोग नए लोग हैं, वो वर्णन करते नहीं थकते हैं कि हम तो पूरे टाइम ठंडक रही हमको, पूरी निर्विचारिता रही, पूरे चैतन्य में नहा गए। इस तरह के नए लोगों के अनुभव होते हैं। तो ये श्री माता जी की कृपा है कि माँ हमें इतना आनंद प्रदान कर रही है। सभी लोगों को पुनः बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद। श्री माता जी को भी धन्यवाद, जो माँ ने हम पे ये कृपा करी। एक अलग ही दुनिया चल रही है हमारी हर हर रविवार को या शनिवार के दिन, जो हम इतना आनंद प्राप्त कर पा रहे हैं। जय श्री माता जी।
Yes, Shri Mataji. Thank you. Wishing everybody a very good evening, and hope all of the yogis have good experiences and good luck with your meditations and your spiritual journey. And with all the blessings of Shri Mataji, we can all come together hopefully again soon in India when this virus problem is finished.
जय श्री माता। जय श्री।
Thank you so much for today's uncle. Thank you to Mother for today's session. Thank you to all the Devi Devtas and all the Ganas for today's session. Jai Shri
Thank
Mataji,
you.
uncle. So you would like to close today's session? We look forward to the next session with you. Jai Shri Mataji.
Thank you, Jai Shri Mataji.
आज के session close कर सकते हैं. Thank you so much.